This is the future.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Warframe video. In this guide, I will talk about the recent hotfix digital extremes imposed to Warframe that nerf one of the best immortality trick in Whispers in the Walls. To be honest with you, this news is no shocker to me at all, as digital extremes always does this after almost every big update that they release. First, they would release something broken, and then after a few days or week, you will be slapped with a hotfix saying that the interaction was not intended and they have to balance the game. I wasn't surprised when they nerfed the interaction of Topaz Archon Shard, as it made almost Warframe that has shield immortal. But honestly, without the Topaz Archon Shard, your Warframe can become unkillable, and the Whispers in the Walls update made this possible with a few mods and changes. So what did digital extremes fix in the Topaz Archon Shard? They changed the regenerate shields when you inflict an enemy with blast status Topaz Archon Shard embed bonus to no longer apply when shield gate is triggered. Basically, the shield regeneration bonus lets you abuse the shield gating mechanic, as even if you are in the invulnerability phase, your shield will regenerate as long as you have Proc blast status to enemies. It was broken with my Dariga and Verglass setup, as not only does Arc Coil proc blast, but each time an enemy receives 10 times stack of blast from the Verglass Sentinel weapon, it will add to the shield regeneration. The best part is you can use the Duplex Bond mod to increase the effectiveness of the Topaz Archon Shard, and this allows you to regenerate your shield faster despite being damaged by multiple enemies while just standing in one place. However, I did say that the synergy has weakness, and we all know that shield gating is not that busted in the game as you may think, since it can be bypassed by toxin damage. The toxin proc and damage will bypass through your health, and if you don't have any form of damage reduction or health regeneration, then shield gating is still useless, as it won't even trigger the vulnerability and you will instantly die from the toxin damage. But aside from this, you can literally face tank enemies with the insane shield regeneration of the Topaz Archon Shard paired that lets you abuse the shield gating mechanic. After the nerf, the shield regeneration from Topaz Archon Shard is still usable for survivability minus the shield gating abuse. It works like Caliban's lethal progeny right now, wherein you would need more stack of the shield regeneration and then the adaptation mode so you can use it as an extra layer of survivability before it hits the shield gating mechanic and then your health. For Warframes that have lots of shield values, the shield regeneration from Topaz Archon Shard will still be busted for survivability. While for those players who just want to make use of the Topaz Archon Shard as another layer of survivability without increasing your shield through mods such as redirection or the primed variant, then you can still do this. And in fact, the Topaz Archon Shard is not really the only survivability setup that made its way to Warframe during Whispers in the Walls. Also, shield gating is just a part of the picture, and there's a specific setup right now that allows your Warframe to survive better even in Steel Path and beyond levels. First of all, let's talk about Blast for a second. As you all know, Blast can debuff enemies with 75% in accuracy on their guns at 10 stacks. With Verglass and Dariga, I can abuse this and cause a couple of enemies to hit their shot. In addition, the Whispers in the Walls added mods that can give you radiation element, and this doesn't combine with other element that you have in your build. Let's take, for example, my Incarnatoid that has corrosive and radiation with the help of two elemental mods that form corrosive, and then the Radiant Reload mod, which you can farm from the enemies in the Sanctum Anatomica tile set that gives me radiation damage. Each enemy's hit will get affected by radiation, and while it's not a good damage type since I am stripping armor with corrosive plus the 2 Archon Emerald Archon Shard, I can still have extra damage in this setup since I have Subsume Nourish for the viral proc. The radiation is added damage for the Galvanized mod. All enemies hit will target each other instead of focusing their attention on me. The same goes with my Dariga Sentinel. With Arc Coil, I can proc triple element in the form of Blast, which debuff the accuracy of enemies and make good use of the shield regeneration. Then, I can proc Corrosive for armor strip stacking and the radiation to crowd control them. Aside from crowd control, the triple element I have in my Sentinel and as well as my weapon allows me to proc the Manifold Bond of my Sentinel, which lowers the cooldown of both Arc Coil and the Guardian mod. Every time I kill enemies, the Arc Coil mode will proc status and then lower the cooldown of Guardian mod, which helps you abuse the shield gating mechanic. The mod has a 30 seconds cooldown, but with Manifold Bond and a triple element setup like this, I can easily lower that cooldown and restore my shield when needed most of the time. And to top things up, I then added Arcane Aegis for more shield regeneration. Basically, this build has every survivability available in the game. It has crowd control and aggro control. Then it has the shield gating mechanic, and I have the damage reduction from my shield of Shadow shadows, making this a complete build. For other Warframes, the shield gating and crowd control will prove to be very useful, and the Sentinel setup is enough to keep you alive in most missions in Warframe. However, if there's one thing that I will miss about the broken shield regeneration of the Topaz Archon shard, that is the ability to face tank even bosses in the game. The shield regeneration abuses shield gating that you can literally face tank the Steel Path fragmented boss with any squishy Warframe, but with the current state of the buff right now, there's no way that you can do it. In addition, it would take more than just one setup to survive in Warframe, but the synergy of triple element plus Guardian, Manifold Bond, and Sentinel will be very handy against Steel Path levels and beyond. This is especially useful for those players who love to farm Steel Essence and other high-level content in the game. Although the nerf was bad to the point that you require more things to survive, and the shield regeneration of the Topaz Archon shard is now just a part of a survivability setup. Still, it's a great tool to use in Steel Path and beyond levels. If you are looking for an unkillable setup after the Topaz Archon shard nerf, then might as well try the synergy I have shown in this video. So that's all about it. I hope that you enjoyed watching this video and find it informative. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video. Squad Leader signing off.